Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you be watching this transmission. This I, Mike Martins. And I hate talking about these kind of videos and discussing these kind of things because it looks like things are going to get worse before they get any better. And I hate to be the Mr. Doom and Gloom on the block here, but it looks like we're going to be headed back to petrol wars. We've been under a petrol war since I don't know, the last 20-30, since the U.S. was pegged as the world's currency for comparison trading and trading and buying buying oil. So for a country to buy oil, first they would have to purchase U.S. dollars, and then with the U.S. dollars they could purchase oil. That's how it's been for the longest time. You see countries like China, Russia, Brazil, tons of them that are not Iran, Venezuela, that are not trading in petrodollars. And what happens? Well, we know what happens with history. And I don't want to get this video flagged. I want to keep it as PG as possible for you guys, because I want to stick around for a while, and I like you guys, you know. So let's start off with this little soft article and kind of build up into what's going on with this huge tug of war that's happening. And this is the rhetoric that we usually see before massive hot war breaks out. And when I say hot war, it's in Portuguese. We say it. It's guerra quente. When it's hot war, it means the big boys are playing, and it's not a joke. And I see Iran as a powerful empire. I see them as a very powerful foe. I don't think Iran would sit back. I think Iran is very, very true to their roots type of thing. I think Iran has been played with a lot in the last 3, 4, 5 decades. So, up into the 60s and 70s. Yeah, Iran was a great country. So, it still is, but I'm saying it was a great country in the 60s and 70s until 70. I think it was 79. But we're not going to get into Iran's history right now. China criticizes U.S. effort to reduce Iran oil sales. So, China is weighing in and criticizing the U.S., saying, Beijing, China has criticized Washington's decisions to tell Beijing and other governments to stop buying Iranian oil or face sanctions. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Greg said Monday that Chinese dealings with Iran are reasonable and legitimate, which thus deserves respect. U.S. officials told reporters that the Trump administration will inform other governments they no longer will be exempt from sanctions. China is one of the biggest foreign buyers of Iranian crude. Remember what I've been saying on the channel, guys, that China is the big red dragon, and it consumes more energy than pretty much any other country in the world, by far. And they got to fuel that red dragon, that 7 billion people living there. Gang said Beijing opposes Washington's unilateral sanctions and long-armed jurisdiction. However, Gang gave no indication that what might Beijing do if Washington went ahead in sanctions against China. So we're in the sanction wars right now. And sanction wars are dangerous because it's one of the worst ways you could stop people from getting their medication, one of the worst ways for people getting, information in that, and sanctions are tough, and the people that get hurt the most are the poor, the working poor, the peasants, the serfs, the hard-working class in that system, in both systems, suffer the most, right? So, and my scariest thing is medical equipment updates and upgrades, medical prescriptions, drugs, and stuff for diabetics and cancers and stuff. That stuff is something I think they should not play with when it comes to sanctioning, right? But when they impose all out sanctions, that becomes really scary, especially with a diabetic that's depending on his insulin. That has nothing to do with this damn war or these sanctions or this feud over oil. The U.S. escalates even further. This is from a week ago. This one's from today. China's criticizing the U.S. The U.S. Escalates even further against Iran to what end? Declaring the country's most powerful security services and terrorist organization is just the Trump administration's latest move to long pressure campaign against Iran. And people in the United States voted for Trump because they didn't want to go to war with Iran if they voted the other way. And now this is not looking good. Oh, this was updated today. This article was updated at 2:53 p.m. today, 2:35 p.m. today. Trump administration added another layer of its maximum pressure campaign against Iran when it declared the country's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps a foreign terrorist organization. So basically, they called the Trump administration called the Islamic Army, I guess the army of Iran, a terrorist organization. And I mean, can you prove that for real? An escalation that exposes to U.S. criminal prosecution anyone supporting the most powerful security services in the Iranian government. So anyone that supports that government. This unpreceded step, led by the Department of State, recognizes the reality that Iran is only a state sponsor of terrorism, but that IRGC actively participates in, finances, and promotes terrorism as a tool of statecraft. President Donald Trump said, announcing the decision in a statement Monday morning, this designation will be our first time that the United States has ever named a part of another government a FTO. Wow. Funded terrorist organization. Okay, so let's go to its roots. From its roots, the Iranian revolution of 1979, which it was founded to protect and propagate, the IRGC has grown in clout and influence, not just over Iran's regional policies, throughout its Quds force, or its suppression of domestic dissent through the Basij militants, but also a powerful economic actor. So something like a communist party, the KGB, a business complex, and the mafia. That's what they're trying to dub it. We can't go to war with Iran. Because, oh, Mike, you're in Canada. You're not going to war with Iran. Yeah, we are. It becomes, once the big boys start playing in hot war, you start seeing some hot problems. Now, Iran turns around 2 weeks later and names firing new chief to head the Revolutionary Guard 2 weeks after U.S. terror designation. So this guy, Hussein Salman's aggressive speeches during Friday prayers and his zealous support for the Islamic Revolution are among his hallmarks. So this guy, I think he was one of the main generals during the Iranian revolution slash and I think he was in one of the main key figures during the Iran-Iraq war, when Iraq invaded Iran. It was a joke, and Iran won, and Iraq was celebrating like they won the war. We're not going to go there. Bloomberg: Iran named a new commander known for his bellicose rhetoric against the country's enemies to lead Revolutionary Guard Corps. 2 weeks after the elite military force was designated terrorist act by the U.S., Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei appointed General Hassan Salami, 58, to replace the General Muhammad Ali Jafari, according to the decree published on his website. Salami's fiery speeches during Friday's prayers and his zealous support for the Islamic Revolution are among his hallmarks. No reasons was given to Jafari's replacement after more than a decade at the Guard's helm. The Guards, created after the 1979 Islamic Revolution to bolster the regime, is deeply embedded in the country's economic and was already under heavy sanctions before the terrorism designation. Salami joined the force during the Iraq War in 1980. I knew this guy. I knew this guy was a key figure, and held numbers of his posts in its ground, air, and naval forces, according to a state-run media. So Iran is trading their guy that was there and trading him. They're trading him with an experienced guy, new commander. So they're trading up for experience. Trump's hardline on Iran catches markets off guard. I picked up quite a few oil stock last week, quite a bit actually, and I saw because I've been picking up oil stock for dividends, and I think oil is severely undervalued. Do not take advice from me. I am not a financial advisor. Do your research, and also make sure you get professional. Do your research. You are the professional. Do your own research, and then get maybe a little bit of information from some professionals, or a professional advisor or investor that could teach you, or instruct you on the best things to do, right, when it comes to stuff like that. Oil prices spiked on Monday on the news that the Trump administration has opted to take a hard line on Iran, letting sanction waivers expire at the end of the month. The Washington Post reported on Sunday that the State Department was sent to announce a decision against the extensions on waivers after the initial 6-month period expires. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced the decision on Monday. As a result, the 8 countries that the U.S. granted waivers to, China, India, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Italy, Greece, and Turkey, will have to completely halt their purchases from oil from Iran. If not, they could be hit by sanctions. So the U.S. looks like it wants to sanction China, India, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Italy, Greece, and Turkey. I don't know why Turkey's on that list, because Turkey's been buying a lot of black market petrol from Syria. I don't know why they would even be buying anything from Iran. Interesting. The policy of zero Iranian imports originated with Secretary Pompeo, a senior State Department official told the Washington Post, hoping to downplay the differences between the high-level officials. He has executed this policy in tight coordination with the president every step of the way, because the conditions to not grant any more SREs have now been met. We can now announce zero imports. Oh man, that's impossible. You don't know how costly it is to monitor and actually implement this. It costs more money to put this into implementation than it does. They're not looking at the full, well, I depend on your comments down low to give me a little bit of feedback. U.S. to impose sanctions on allies' drive to push Iranian oil sales to zero. They can't. It's impossible to do that. But then Venezuela is not an ally. I don't think Brazil really is an ally. But these countries already produce oil. So then now you have to take into consideration what is an ally now. Who is an ally? Who aligns themselves with the United States, right? I know Canada might actually not buy oil from Iran because they've been having these tensions with Iran. Iran and Canada tensions have been, Canada has been pretty much upsetting everybody, China and everybody. So I don't see Canada and parts of Europe. So I don't see Canada buying any oil from Iran anyway. But I'm just trying to say, like other countries, that's pretty harsh. How is countries like India supposed to power their massive infrastructure? How is China, the Red Dragon, supposed to fuel its massive consumption of fuel? These are the big Red Dragon ain't kidding. It's 1.7, 1.6, or 1.5 billion people living in China. And these people need fuel. They're fuel hungry, right? And coming into reality, the The Trump administration said Monday that it will start imposing sanctions on a handful of countries, including key U.S. allies, unless they stop buying oil from Iran after waivers expire next month. Guys, this is a really big deal. This is, like, I don't like to do these kind of stories because it gets my channel flagged. It gets me promoting hate speech or whatever they want to call it. But it's bad. And I really need to get this out there. Tehran called the administration's sanctions illegal. That's exactly what it was. Iraq 1, Iraq 2, illegal. Syria, illegal. Lots of illegal. Tehran called the administration's sanctions illegal and worthless. And the head of the Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy threatened to close the strategic Strait of Hormuz. So if you guys know where the Strait of Hormuz is, I'll show you what it looks like. And Iran could control that easily. And you could see a lot of conflict in that little strait. I'll show you what it looks like, okay, guys? It has all to do with oil here. Images. Let's see if they got a nice... Right here. This is the Strait of Hormuz. Hormuz. It's right there. Let me zoom that if it's possible to zoom that in. There you go. Right here. They could easily control this. Right? I don't know how many miles across that is. I'm not sure if it's 16 or 22 miles across. It's not that much. I'm pretty sure if you're on this coast here, you can see the lights on this coast. Like, you can see the lights at night. It's not that far. See if we can get one with a legend here and show us the distance between. I mean, we could just go to Google Maps, right? Let's go to Maps. Yeah, here it is here. So you are looking at... Okay, so you're looking at a span of about 50 clicks. So I was dead wrong. Oh, no, actually, this is Iranian. So from the Iranian nearest island would be here to there. You're still looking at about 50 kilometers. So you're looking at about 35 miles. It's kind of a stretch, but I don't think it's impossible to shut that down. I don't think it's completely impossible, right? Yeah, it's 20 clicks. So that from here to here is about 20 clicks. From here to here, it's about 40 kilometers. So it's a bit of a stretch of water. Interesting. Trump granted waivers on 8 Iranian customers, allowing them 6-month grace period to wind down their purchases. 3 countries, Italy, Greece, and Taiwan, have already stopped buying Iranian oil. Anyone buying oil from Iran has been living on borrowed time for a year, according to senior administration official. Speaking on the condition of I can never read that word. Anonymity at the instance of the White House. Sorry, guys. Remember, guys, I got a grade 3 reading level. I do read better Portuguese and Spanish, but I'm trying my best here, guys. So that's it. And the U.S. toughened stance on Iran, ending exemptions from oil sanctions. Nobody wants this. Nobody. It almost reminds me of a bunch of grade 3s fighting over turf in the playground. The grade 3s and the grade 4s are fighting over who gets to play baseball at the diamond. And recess is only one period of recess. And whoever could gain control of that diamond, the baseball diamond, gets to play. And they're basically creating this bickery between each other and people not being friends with each other because they're part of another group. And it's just a bunch of grade 3s fighting back and forth and going nowhere. I'm just absolutely okay, so we have something off the press from like an hour and a half ago. The U.S. has announced it will no longer exempt countries from sanctions that's aimed to impose a complete oil embargo on Iran. So it's not going to exempt countries now. Uh-oh. So the 6-month grace period is not going to fit? Is that what they're saying? Officials said that the Trump administration will not renew any of the sanction waivers granted to a handful of countries, including China, India. Waivers expires on the 2nd of May. I'm lucky I pulled this one up because this one is just a few hours after. Guys, I hate bringing up these stories but this is triggering because I looked today. I just know that oil is severely undervalued. I know it is, with the deflating dollar and blah 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 and all that stuff. But then I'm looking at my stocks today, and it's like something strange is happening in the neighborhood. Who are you going to call, right? So I check Bloomberg, I check this, and I start seeing all this stuff happening, and it's like, oh, they're back at this again. It's like the same old song, but a different meaning, but the same old song. I don't know, guys. I look forward to reading your comments below and let me know what you guys think. I hate talking about this. This is like more of a I know I talk about housing, price of gas. I talk about relationship advice, all kinds of crap. Even do video game reviews from time to time. I hate talking about this. I know it's something that's there, but it's something that needs to be addressed. I'm really interested to see how the mainstream media plays this off. Very interested. Comment below, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys.